Welcome back to the Fatal Vision podcast. This
Wow.
is episode 29, and it is after our longest and most arduous and most terrifying of hiatuses. We've actually received messages of concern from many of you asking, will there be more? Is it over? The answer is the best is yet to come. Billy, what do you have to say for yourself?
For those who questioned whether the dream of the Fatal Vision podcast is alive in our time, tonight is your answer.
Tonight. Well, do we have any explanation for why we went off line for so long? It was never our intention.
No, I don't know what happened.
It was kind of um, it's kind of a combination of things. Well, we received feedback from one of our inner circle saying after season one concluded, saying, "Oh, you better take a whole summer off. You guys really
Yeah,
earned it."
he
And
got
we
in
thought
our
that was,
heads.
yeah, we thought that was laughable at the time. And we went ahead and recorded episode one of season two. And then 100,000 days went by, whatever it's been. And it just happened to be one thing after another. Billy was on the road. Billy was on the road. Some of it
Mhm.
was my fault too. And
Yeah,
it just kept slipping away from us. But in the meantime, we've done some incredible research on the case and for the podcast and for its benefit.
yeah,
Unearthed hundreds of hours of never heard audio interviews related to the case.
hmm
Uh, we are working on much more. Being the small shop we are, with just Billy and Corey and me doing things, we are still learning how we will ever be able to cut audio into a Fatal Vision podcast episode and then be able to provide our commentary over it. So that is one thing we've been grappling with, is the technical side of things. We've just been burning the midnight oil looking at how to make Riverside work, which is a podcasting platform we've invested $100,000 into. Um, so that's required a lot of skilling up. It's required a lot of sleepless
we've had to
nights.
up level our
Yeah, we've got to
skills.
level up and skill up, and we're jacks of all trades, and
Yeah,
we're gonna figure out how to take this unearthed audio and turn it into episodes. While we're still maintaining our main mission here, which is working through the text of the book.
yeah,
Um, at the top of the hour, though, I need to break some very sad news. Um, which is that I learned a few weeks ago that Christina Mashavich is has passed away. Um, Hero to many of us, the leader of the truth about Jeffrey McDonald movement in the 21st century. Her efforts can never be duplicated. She's passed on out of this world, and we express our incredible gratitude for her paving the way for us too. Um,
yeah. What did she do, James?
well, what she did is she provided all of these case materials and spent untold tens of thousands of dollars with FOIA requests, getting transcripts, getting case files, and hosting them on her own website for many, many, many years. And that I think did an untold amount of good in the final credible period of time where McDonald being freed was still getting some play in the early aughts. and her website was an anchor for the truth. Uh, where
What about her relationship with your dad?
very cordial,
Yeah.
very cordial. Yeah, very cordial. She thought very highly of my dad, and
Hmm.
I think on the Smerling podcast, she says she must have read that book 100 times. I don't doubt it.
Hmm.
So one of the great sadness about this is that she'll never, well, in her mortal form, be able to hear this, but I'm sure she's hearing every word. Um, so God bless her, and to those who loved her, and to those whose lives were improved for it, including me and Billy. We wish to honor her going forward. So that is a sad news update. I wish we didn't have to have that news for you, but we do. And we recognize we find ourselves ever more alone as the island of McDonald case
Knowledge.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the stewards. We're the stewards in the 2020s
Hmm.
through sheer attrition of the greats.
Yep. We've got Gene
So
Weingarten out there.
Gene's out there. Gene's out there. Gene's been here. We got Jim. We got Brian's out there too in his way.
Yep.
Um, but the hour is late and Jeff is still alive. That is one thing that hasn't happened since we last recorded is Jeff has not died. I check every day. He's not dead.
Hmm.
And he has not been pardoned or commuted
Hmm.
or anything like that. I'm keeping an eye on that too with the Google and it's not
Yeah.
happened. So no big news, no secrets about that other than I did have one conversation with someone who spoke to McDonald on the telephone in 2017 or even earlier and said McDonald sounded incredibly ill then.
Wow.
So if you're out there and you're worried that he is enjoying his life or is anything but riddled with physical pain and I'm just assuming dementia at this point. You can take heart knowing that every moment of his life is pure agony right now, as it should be.
Hmm.
And I don't say that with a hint of irony. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I was heartened to hear that, and I'm sure many of our listeners are glad to know that he's suffering greatly right now and his health is poor.
I appreciate you really laying it on thick here, because I was surprised to see that we got another Apple review,
Oh, yes.
and
I forgot about this one.
this Apple reviewer accused us of being McDonald defenders. I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
well, it said actually that the title of their review, which was 2 stars, so it seems like they were confused and scared. Um,
Hmm.
it said, "Did I hear that right?" is the title with a question mark, and then the content of the review is, "You guys are McDonald defenders?" question mark.
Right.
My
So,
my theory is that podcasts are usually listened to with one less than 1% of a person's attention span when they're put on.
mhm.
Um, so this person, I'm imagining this person is a young man for some reason. It's probably, it could be anybody, but imagining him going on and playing Fortnite and PUBG with Fatal Vision podcast in the background while he's
I
eating
think he was hitting a
yeah,
bong.
hitting a bong, shooting up, and doing all sorts of horrible, depraved
I
acts.
think
And
he was at like a frat party doing a
yes,
keg stand.
keg stand and roofied himself. And in the last moment before the consciousness was stripped away from him, he heard us say something about the Jeffrey McDonald defender, and he grabbed his phone with one hand and spat out that hateful, ignorant review, which has brought us down to we're teetering in the fours, teetering.
Yeah, it won't be
Yeah,
long before we're below 4.
which is fine. We invite the haters. The haters energize us.
I have been
And
praying for the grace to not need to be liked, loved, or approved of in any way.
yeah, no, I if anything, I have more love for the people who hate me and want me to fail and want our show not to exist than I do for everyone that wants it to succeed. Because those people are sick, and sick people need us to love them twice as much. So,
Yep, yep,
um, all that
so
is
true.
all of that beautiful, spiritual love, which knows no end, is bottomless, is timeless. All of it is for all of you, except for McDonald. He
Right.
doesn't get any, he gets nothing. He gets absolutely nothing. So, that's for fucking sure. And if we can say fuck on this program, which I hope we can, um, I'd like to just make that very fucking clear right now.
Yeah. How does that fit with your universalist convictions when it comes to heaven, hell, and salvation?
Yeah, I don't know how to, I don't know how to, I don't, I never acknowledge that contradiction at all. Um,
Right.
because dealing with Jeffrey McDonald, um, requires a complete suspension of all spiritual contact and insight
Hmm.
because he is a being that exists beyond God's grace. He is a
Hmm.
being that cannot be saved and will not be saved. He's utterly demonic in nature, and to take on a demon,
Hmm.
one must um, understand you're engaging with an entity which will never be reconciled with us. So yes, I
Got it.
suspend the humanity the love for humanity I have completely because he's not part of humanity.
We should have David Bentley Hart on the show to talk about his book on universalism, and I've been working that angle for a
Yeah.
while. He hasn't emailed me back, but
Yeah, I just don't think he maybe hasn't become a fan of Fatal Vision yet, which is where we're running into problems getting him booked. But I was just giving you my opinion, Billy. I mean, everything I say is channeled, so I can't take any accountability for what I say. It's
right,
purely coming from
I recognize that.
the yeah, yeah. So if you found anything offensive about me speaking so poorly of McDonald, and um I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. This is probably isn't the pot. Go listen to somebody else. This is what I have to say. Because I invite him to confess today, or tomorrow, and then we could have a conversation about
He
him
could he could confess on
being
the
redeemed.
show. We'd have him on the show
Yeah,
if he
I
did.
sure. Yeah, call in. Call in from yeah, you have your First Amendment right to speak to us from Cumberland, and we'll have you on, and you can finally start to undo the horrific damage you did, which will take about 100 lifetimes.
Yeah.
But you can at least start the process now. Um, so I invite him to sit straight and pick up the phone.
Yep. Anytime, Jeff.
Yeah, we're here. We're available 24/7. We'll do a fucking YouTube live stream and you can get it off your chest. So that's where we go from here.
We'll even listen
Yeah,
to you
man.
talk about food for a while if you include the
Oh,
confession.
yes, exactly. Because um in one of the tapes that we unearthed, McDonald in his limited amount of time with this interviewer, spends about 45 minutes talking about what he eats for breakfast and his federal prison over the last 7 years. It's pretty good stuff. Looking forward to getting it out to you, but it will be included in the Fatal Vision cookbook because he talks about getting how often can you get jam and toast at your federal prison breakfast.
Right. The Fatal Vision cookbook will include voice of Jeffrey McDonald chapters from the unearthed content.
Yes, yes, from the unearthed content.
Yeah.
So much on it.
Only the unearthed content. If you think that you have enjoyed the voice of Jeff chapters in the actual book, you just haven't seen the unreleased material.
No, no,
All
that's
I
what
can
I'm
say.
saying. And the only way you will ever get access to these amazing tapes is if you continue listening religiously to this podcast. And only those who have listened religiously will be invited into the premium circle of golden champions who can enroll in the Fatal Vision mentorship program for an undisclosed fee. And it'll take at least 9 months before you have a special Zoom call with Billy or me, and you
But not
might get to
both.
hear,
Not
not
both.
both, no, 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 no. Let's be clear. And you will, for no more than 10 minutes, you might get to hear a snippet of it. So that's our plan. That's the mentorship program outline. We're working on that right now. It's being,
Hmm.
we have several financial gurus who are pouring over how to get all this money funneled into the Caymans and tax free. So, and we're going to eventually have to relocate to like a Scientologist Sea Brigade type thing for the Fatal Vision podcast eventually to escape the law. Like Ted Gunderson, live our life on the run.
All right. Let's read. Why don't we read the book?
All right. So yeah, we have a pleasure. We have the pleasure to
Anyway, sorry about
returning.
that. I'm
Yes. So
not sure what just happened.
you think that was weird? I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember it, so I don't know.
All right. Well,
Blacked
anyway,
out.
I thought we were just having a good time, trying to make him laugh, but if that's just
No,
gonna
no, I
alienate,
was laughing too, but I'm telling you, I blacked out.
okay, you're blacking out. We're blacking out here. So we left off with, unfortunately, we're not through with it yet, but with Bernie Siegel's contribution to the book, where his interviews with Joe are apparently being jammed in here, and we have to suffer through his amazing recollection of coming to believe in Jeffrey's not only total innocence, but amazing, exceptional personhood. Uh, so we just left off with him admitting that he still thought they would need the insanity defense. And we're going to take a little break from there. Joe is putting us now into correspondence between Jeffrey and the Kassabs, and I'd like to invite Billy to come in and read the first letter.
Thank you, James. On Tuesday, April 14th, Jeffrey McDonald wrote to Colette's mother and stepfather, Mildred and Alfred Kassab. This is unreal. All right. Sorry. I just
No, it's okay.
I can see the next line.
Yeah,
The
it's brutal.
problem. This is unreal. This seems like Edgar Allan Poe or at least Alfred Hitchcock. I keep waiting to either one, awaken, or two, have someone come in and tell me it's all been a mistake and I can go. The whole idea behind it is so incredible. I love them so much. I get sick when I think about them. I would gladly go to jail if that would bring them back, even if I could only spend one day with Colette, Kim, and Christy again. But for them to come up with me as the villain is beyond my comprehension. Apparently, I made several mistakes. First, I foolishly thought that only people who did something wrong need lawyers. Then I insulted the idiots when they questioned me on Monday, April 6th. Never insult small-minded men in positions of power. It's like it's a very righteous political statement.
Yeah, he's finding his footing.
When I lost my family, I didn't care about much at first. Then I gradually began to work again and just wanted to get back into medicine. Now this. I suppose it will pass and the truth will eventually come out, even if they make the mistake of forcing it through a trial. It no longer matters to me because what little I had left, medicine, in parentheses, is pretty much destroyed by the Monday, 6 April news conference. But it, of course, drags both my mother and you people down again on top of everything else you've had to undergo. I'm so sorry for that. I wish I could spare you all of this mess. I'm still confined to quarters. They shut off my phone and I have to be escorted to meals. I guess I'm guilty until proven innocent, and I haven't even been charged with anything. Hope Mildred is getting out more. Trust you are all beginning to get back on your feet. Let me know when the pool no longer has ice on it. I will keep in touch. Thank you, more than you know, for your support. You are wonderful people. I loved the girls, your girl, my girls, more than you can imagine. Love, Jeff.
Okay. Um, is he fishing? You think he's fishing here?
Fishing for what?
Are you still with me?
I think he just assumes they are.
It's a fucking slam dunk.
Yeah.
Total slam dunk.
Yeah.
What's the purpose in this letter? It's to sort of like
And he's like, "Hey, don't
keep
feel bad. Don't feel bad for me. I really feel bad for you that you have to go through this again."
and so he's trying to like if you're him, you know you're guilty and you're under suspicion and you want the Kassabs to be up in arms about for you. So you think he's trying to draw Freddie into the frenzy he's about to be in where he's goes crazy trying to defend Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, and keeping him close.
And a thing that was personally distressing to me
Hmm.
um, was this whole notion that he was just getting back on his feet and finding how much he truly just loves doing medicine. And
Yeah.
the absurdly short period of time that we're talking about versus and the insane um suppose you know if he's innocent, then this is like you're really like that worried about your fucking medical career? Like, oh man, it's all shot now. Like, at least I enjoyed medicine. I was already enjoying it less than a couple weeks after they were all murdered.
It's the only thing I had.
So it's not like why that seems crazy that he would put that in this letter. Like he's like there, and then he's also saying the banality of like, and he you know remember he said this to the it's in the full transcript, but not in the book of the April 6th interview where he's like t just talking to Ivory and Shaw, waiting to hear about the polygraph, and he's just like, yeah, Mildred's a mess. Like she's not even leaving the house, and like Freddie's like, yeah, I mean, he's back at work, but he's doing terrible at work. He's not doing well. He's just so they just can't get over it. You know, he's just like expressing this sort of concern about like why can't they just like get back on their feet, get out of the Mildred won't even leave the house.
Right. It's like a
And so
month
then
and a half
yeah,
after.
yeah, it's like insane. It's fucking insane.
All right.
Yeah, well, sorry.
So Mildred
Um,
wrote back. You're gonna do Mildred now.
okay, well, I just wanted to say, I
Sorry.
also wanted to admonish him for saying, "Tell me when the pool no longer has ice on it." That really, that I just thought that was so stupid.
Hey man, he's excited to take a dip.
He's gonna come up and take a dip and Mildred's gonna be out of the house, is feeling like $1 million, you know,
Yeah.
going on long walks. All right, on April 18th, Mildred wrote back, "Thanks for letting us hear from you. I have just returned from taking fresh flowers to the cemetery, Kim's 6th birthday. When you go there and see the names in bronze, it is still unbelievable. All of them, just like using an eraser on a blackboard. The waste. Me rearing Colette with constant joy in her, bearing first Kim, then Christy in so much pain. Your work together under such financial difficulties to make a home, get your career, all for nothing. The infuriating thing is the stupidity of the powers that be, letting 2 months pass, all chance of catching the monsters go by, and fastening on you. Jeff, please know that Freddie and I have never wavered for an instant in knowing how idiotic that conclusion is. Good heavens. If anyone ever adored his family, you did. And they loved and trusted you implicitly as we do. The horror of your position can at least help you from thinking too constantly of them. Meanwhile, the guilty persons can leave the country if they choose. They must be caught. Someone must pay, and with their lives for this awful thing they have done. Freddie is extremely eager to do anything to get at the real people responsible. He loved Colette and the kids even more than he realized. He neither eats nor sleeps. We all wander around the house during the night, eating sleeping pills and waiting for morning. Know that we are constantly thinking of you and telling everyone of your love for your family. If your lawyer makes the right moves, he can get you completely vindicated and your future once more assured. All of our love comes to you, Jeff. We know you.
Very, very sad.
Yes, very sad. And she did feel it necessary to address whether they are wavering in his innocence.
Hmm.
So, fishing or not, you got an assurance that they're there, but also it's like an assurance with a barb in it for like because she talks half the letter about what they're gonna do to the person who killed them, not the real concern. She doesn't say like Freddie is like so concerned about your rights being violated. Like Freddie is so worried that like he just wants you to back to medicine. It's like no, the concern from day one, and this is what he's going to get so annoyed about in a few months, is we got to get this bullshit with you getting charged out of the way so we can go find the killers.
Right.
It's never gonna be, never gonna be. Never, they're never giving him an indication that it will be about just getting an Article 32 um, cleared, and then you can just go and live your life.
Right.
So yeah, that's for sure.
On Monday, April 20th, Jeffrey McDonald, accompanied by an armed escort officer, presented himself in Bernie Segal's Philadelphia office. There, for the first time, he spoke to his lawyer in detail about the events of February 17th. To Siegel, the most notable aspect of McDonald's presentation was his almost total lack of affect, of any semblance of feeling or emotion, as he described the weekend leading up to the murders and the events of Monday, February 16th, and then proceeded with no change of emphasis, intensity, or tone to describe how he had been awakened by the screams of his wife and older daughter, how he had fought unsuccessfully with the intruders, how he had fallen unconscious in the hallway, and then how he had made his way from the master bedroom to the bedroom of his older daughter, discovering the bodies of Colette and Kimberly and trying to breathe life back into them. It suddenly struck me, Siegel said, Jesus Christ, this guy is telling this story rather dispassionately. What am I dealing with here? But just at that point, he began to talk about the baby and Kristen. And as he did, it was an almost imperceptible thing. There was a catch in his voice, just for a moment, and then he went on past it, but it was there. That little catch in the voice when he talked about going into the baby's room. And that's when I had my second level of response. Son of a bitch, I know what he's doing. As he's talking to me, he's not focusing on the horror. He's describing how he dealt with the situation, describing how he was treating these people. He isn't really looking at the event head on because obviously that would be too painful. His focus is just a little bit off center, talking about the bodies as bodies, not as his own wife and children, but as people that, as a doctor in an emergency situation, he was trying to save because the personal pain was too great to confront. He was describing his actions in a professional, clinical way. It was the only way he could tell the story at all. And, it was perfectly understandable. It was how I might later describe to someone how I responded to an accident involving one of my own children. This was an emergency which required action. Here are the actions I took. By keeping the focus steadily on that aspect, he was able to look past his own pain. This was very reassuring to me. I felt I now understood his apparent lack of affect. His response seemed genuine, especially when I recalled that little catch in his voice when he talked about going into the baby's room. To me, that was the first real tip-off. This is not to say, Siegel continued, that I was suddenly overjoyed. It did not immediately convince me of his innocence. Remember, I still had only the vaguest idea of what the so-called evidence against him was. But by the end of that meeting, my mind was much more open to the possibility of his innocence, and I remember thinking, well, I'll be interested to hear what the psychiatrist Bob Sadoff has to say. Okay, well, I'll jump in here. I think Brian Murtaugh in the Gene Weingarten piece talked about the catch in Jeff's voice. I might be misremembering that, but it would make sense that the catch in his voice occurs when he's talking about Christie in particular, because that's the really cold one, right? That's the one to make his alibi work, to make his version work, right? He had to go and kill the sleeping baby.
Yeah,
Also,
and
I'm
that's
struck.
consistent with CID. With what he told the initial CID investigators, he would just start freaking out and crying when he would talk about Christie the next day. It's the one thing he couldn't talk about.
Right, that might be what I'm remembering.
Yeah,
Maybe not the gene, but it might have been. Also, Siegel's doing a lot of work here to make this make sense. Like
I
he
mean,
he
he's trying.
clearly,
Well,
well, he's
he's
like,
talking about it 9 years later. We know he's not. He's talking to McGinnis in '79.
yeah,
You know, telling the story about how he approached it with such ardent skepticism, and like
yeah,
this was, and the idea that this was somehow a turning point. Um, Maybe he's trying to turn what was considered the liability of him being so flat and dispassionate about talking about the murders, like in the interrogation tape and at the grand jury, into some sort of an asset. Like you see,
yeah.
he's
Well,
just a
how does he?
doctor.
How does Siegel like? Does Siegel have some intensive psychiatric training in his background, like psychological training? Is he like a Jungian analyst or something? Like
Yeah.
how is he able to know? I suddenly realized why.
Son of a bitch.
Wow, he's just a doctor.
Yeah. He's just doing what a doctor does. And it's like, I mean, I think at this point, they'd gone through the Cabot thing where everyone was like, why the fuck wasn't that guy even sad?
Right.
And now,
Right.
so he's trying to be, he's like putting himself, and to the McDonald haters see like point of view is like this guy's really weird. He's like
Um,
he's talking like he doesn't even care that this happened. But then I realized it's because he's a doctor. It's his
he's,
training.
he's doing a
It's
bit
just
of sane washing. It's like, oh, this is totally crazy that he has no affect at all when he's talking about this. Here's why it makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, so he's getting out in front of that. Um,
Trump lays out sound economic theory in press conference. Sorry. Can I be equal opportunity about it? You know, Biden has a stutter, man. He just has a stutter. That's all. He's not
oh,
aging.
so wait, what are we saying now?
I'm saying I'm pointing to examples from contemporary
Oh,
press coverage of
spin. Oh,
how
we're talking about
we
spin.
try to make it make sense.
Oh,
Like
it's like, oh
Hunter's
yeah,
like, my dad had just flown on a plane.
and he was all jacked up on Valium or no, Ambien. Um, well, here's the thing: is yeah. So I think, um, I'm assuming Siegel's doing all this talking during the trial at the frat house, telling these stories. And it's just interesting to know that at the end of the trial, when they get him on um, direct, he has such a successful emotional display with Bernie when everyone's weeping.
Right.
He's like it's like literally the only thing they could work on. They finally got that right after 9 years.
Yeah. And the jury was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, yeah. And then the next day is with Blackburn, and it's like the only thing he has to do is not be sarcastic, caustic, and rude and belligerent, and it's just like he just can't not do it. He's no powerless not to
Yeah.
take. And he's already building up his like these small-minded men, positions of power.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and then
he's becoming anti-establishment.
yeah, very quickly. And I think the chilling thing is for if I'm Jeff, and you're trying to get the Kassabs to just stay on your side, and they say things like, "Hey, you need to get a lawyer who will really like expose all the evidence so that you can be cleared 100%." It's like, no, actually, what I need is someone who can just attack the process, attack the crime scene or something, and say it's the evidence is useless.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, that's a position that was recently asserted by a Washington Post journalist on
yeah,
Twitter.
on staff,
On
just
staff, currently
li
employed by the Washington
yeah,
Post.
making
Yeah.
a living
Yep.
from one of our most celebrated institutions, which has been notably taking some flack in the last year
Yeah.
with it. But she's been posting dumb shit on Xbox for at least 5, 6 years.
Has she?
Um,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
who she was until this.
yeah, I
I
know.
just
I
want
mean,
the I just want the critics out there to note that James and I are criticizing both sides right now, man.
oh yeah, we're equal opportunists. We're just calling balls and strikes. We're
That's
not
all it
partisans at
is.
all. We're not partisans in any way. We're just like regular pundits, that just see things as they are, and everyone's right sometimes, everyone's wrong sometimes.
Broken clock, right? Twice a day, man.
Oh, got it. Credit where it's due. Um, and this Megan McArdle lady, got about one like on her tweet about how McDonald is innocent, and
Hmm.
she reread, was drawn back to Errol Morris's masterpiece from 13 years ago,
Mm.
reread it, and was just spewing the venom of Morris, and then even Fatal Justice onto X. And I had the privilege and the blessing to read through that thread on Wednesday, I think it was, and screenshot it for Bill. who passed it along to our friend to hopefully send her an email. No
Yeah,
updates on that.
he sent it. Yeah.
He did?
He sent her an email, but
Okay.
I don't know if he's heard back.
Okay. Doubtful.
I'll
Doesn't
follow
sound,
up.
yeah.
People don't really respond. I have
No.
such bad experiences with that where I just try to help people. Like I'm on this one like writer listserv. This guy
Mm.
used to edit ESPN magazine. He has a weekly newsletter where he will share cool stuff he's read in the past week and some tips. And he seems like a reasonably smart guy. And then, a few months ago, he was like, "Wow, man, I just spent all weekend rereading Journalist and the Murderer, and it's the best thing I've ever read. It's so good." And then I just sent him a quick email. Hey, man, I just thought you should know, like, that book is not actually good because McDonald murdered his children, and her argument falls apart if you accept that premise. And he wrote me back like, "Hey, man, thank you. I disagree."
Hey, I totally disagree. So,
It's like, okay,
so what do you, I'm
wait,
sorry.
which part?
What do you just, you can't even say what you disagree with because then your argument falls apart. I disagree with
Wait,
everything.
yeah. And then there was the Los Angeles Times writer who reviewed a Malcolm posthumous publication, and she took a drive-by shot at
Yeah.
McGinnis, and I wrote to her to say, "Hey, just so you know, Malcolm was wrong about this, and it wasn't
And she,
cool to."
and she believed McDonald was innocent. And she's like, what did she say to you? It's like, no one can know what she believed. Or,
Yeah, okay, if we're gonna get into it,
yeah, that's what
she
we're getting into it.
she included a passage from Journalist and the Murderer, and it was like a just it was like just look at Malcolm's astonishing
Oh,
power.
breathtaking. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said
Mastery
here she is describing Jeffrey McDonald from
with
inside prison.
the donut
It's the
crumbling.
donut. So there's a scene where Jeff is eating a powdered donut very
Like,
gently,
like a bird with a broken wing.
like a
Yeah.
veterinarian tending to a bird with a broken wing. And this writer then says, in that simple passage, we learn more about Jeffrey McDonald than we learn in all 900 pages of Fatal Vision. So I had to write to her to say, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense at all. And also, Malcolm believed that Jeff was innocent. We know that.
Yeah.
And she wrote me back saying, well, if you read the passage again, it might mean that she thinks he's guilty. We don't know. Like, oh, thanks.
Oh, so she also refused to engage with you in any meaningful
Right,
way.
that's the point I'm making. No, nobody
Well,
wants
no,
to know.
because with these types of people who I think I consider subhuman,
No, James, you're going so hard on the subhuman thing tonight.
oh,
You
what?
know, they can be saved, man.
All right, fine, but I said I consider them to be. I'm not speaking for you, and I'm not speaking for,
I didn't say you were. I'm just responding. We're
all
here. We're
right, it's
talking.
fair. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, you can disagree, but I think they, in terms of their ability to have any self-awareness about the ideas that they hold so dear, they lack the ability, and their brain starts to misfire when you confront them with even the slightest come back to their absolute hero, and God, Janet Malcolm.
Yeah.
And uh, so yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think subhuman is a fair. I think it's a fair characterization.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything demeaning about saying someone's subhuman, personally.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we used to say that in this apartment I had about this guy who lives downstairs. We just didn't like him very much. We just said, "Oh, that guy's a subhuman."
Right. That's
Yeah,
fine.
it's just a pejorative. I mean, we're not gonna we don't have to get into the metaphysics of what humanity is or isn't. We can. I'm happy to.
Was he the neighbor that would complain about the noise?
Oh no, no. This was back when this was like 17 years. I was living in Brooklyn at the time.
Oh, cool.
And my landlord told me that. I was like, "Do you see that guy with the red beard? You know?" He's like, "Yeah, that guy's a subhuman."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's actually says more about me than McDonald, I guess, or the journos.
I guess.
Um,
I think if Professor Timothy Snyder were here, and we've invited him, we'll see what we can do. We're still working that angle. He would tell us that there's a danger in stepping toward a McDonald-like view of the world.
oh, in terms of like people are subhuman if they like
Right,
Janet Malcolm.
right. If you want to fight the Nazis, but then you start
I
dehumanizing.
appreciate that we're comparing Malcolm lovers to Nazis. Now we're really getting to yeah, you know what? You know what? I completely concede the point. We can throw subhuman out completely. I meant Nazis. That's all. I'm much more I think now that we can both agree on that, that people who like Janet Malcolm are Nazis. Period.
That's like that guy from the Mehdi Hassan debate, the Jubilee debate, when
Oh, would,
Mehdi was like, "Hey
oh,
man,
wait,
are you a
are you a
Nazi?"
Nazi? He's
He's
like,
like,
yeah, yes, I am.
it's like
And then he was like,
quite frankly.
one of the things I mean, I'm sure everyone's already seen this, but it's the best part, which I don't think gets enough play from that, is when that guy, um, when he says, "Well, how do you feel about what the Nazis did? Like, you do object to anything she did?" So some of the things they did to the Catholic Church, I don't agree with.
They persecuted the church a little bit, and I don't like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Awesome. So
So,
awesome.
so yeah, I guess it maybe. Oh, one of the things we could try to do is get into a Jubilee with like
Yeah.
with
20
20
Malcolm McDonald defenders.
Malcolm or McDonald defenders. We could two episodes. We could do one with 20 Malcolm defenders, one with 20 McDonald defenders,
Right.
and they each get 2 minutes with one or the other of us. And now that would be something to watch.
Oh my God. Yeah, they'd be like, what about the girl with the floppy hat that Ken Micah saw, man? He saw her. He saw her.
Oh, hold on. You're being voted out by your own people. Pause.
Someone
Uh,
else
uh,
runs in.
to everyone who hasn't watched the Jubilee video, I haven't seen one until the last week. Billy blessed me with one in my iMessages in the morning, and I enjoyed it. Now I think one of the things pet projects I'll work on is just getting the Jubilee going for the McDonald's stuff. Um,
Yeah, yeah. We got Corey putting out feelers.
yeah, it takes a lot of a lot of the PR wins takes a lot of work on the back end. And
Yeah.
we're busy doing fundraising. We're just constantly signing checks and just we just closed on real estate. We're investing our money into some shady real estate stuff and some crypto. There's a McDonald coin. It's Fatal Vision coin. It's coming out soon.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So nothing. I mean,
No,
I
the
just
next passage.
you think we should continue reading on?
Yeah, yeah. We should keep reading. Yeah.
I mean, well, so I admit I initially marked this as a jumping off point, but
After Bob, what Bob Sadoff has to say.
because now we're venturing into Sadov,
Sadoff.
um, the psyche. We're beginning to have psychiatric stuff about McDonald, but we're crack-a-lacking here. So let's go through the first Sadov
Yeah, go for it.
sequence. Okay,
Let me know if you want to pass at any point.
all right, I will.
Okay.
All right, okay. On Tuesday, April 21st, McDonald was examined for 3 hours by Dr. Sadov. He told the psychiatrist that he was innocent and that he knew he was innocent. He said the evidence against him was flimsy and that he knew he would ultimately be cleared. He said his friends and in-laws had been immensely supportive and that everyone was on his side, although maybe the gods were against him. In notes of the interview, which would later be presented to a federal grand jury, Dr. Sadoff reported that McDonald said, repeatedly that he was not paranoid, even though people do whisper, there he goes, when he goes to chow, or even when they see him on the street. This is great. McDonald added that he was the subject of many rumors, one being that he'd been having a homosexual relationship with Ron Harrison, and that Harrison, in a fit of jealousy, had murdered Colette and the children. This was, McDonald said, ridiculous.
Hmm.
He denied ever smoking marijuana or taking drugs other than 10 diet pills in his whole life. That's a quote.
Ooh, wow, he dropped that in there.
Yeah, he's covering his ass there. He told the psychiatrist he had lost 12 pounds prior to February 17th as a result of directing the weight control program for his Green Beret unit. So he's really putting out the eschatrol feelers early on, trying to establish a paper trail. He said he had weighed 198 pounds, but that his average was 186, which, because of his weightlifting, was, quote, mostly muscle. Thank God for that, right? What else would you expect? In this,
When I talk to my therapist, I'm sure to let her know mostly muscle.
yes, that's perfect. I mean, this is a 3 hour session. I mean, you and I have never even sniffed a 3 hour session.
No, you're right, you're right.
In describing to Dr. Sadoff the events that had preceded the murder, he said, as he had to the CID on April 6th, that his wife had attended a class in, quote, literature.
Wait, is that true?
Still going with that.
All right.
According to Dr. Sadoff's notes, he also described how his older brother Jay had, quote, in a weird coincidence, suffered a psychotic breakdown on the night of the murders. He said that Jay was on the fringe of the mafia and had fallen deeply in debt to mafia loan sharks through drug purchases and gambling debts, and that the attack upon himself and his family might have been intended as retaliation against his brother, but that it did not seem like a mafia type job.
Wait, okay. Let me.
This is weird. I always forget like how many other alternate theories he's trying to offer up so early
Wait, so
on.
he's telling the psychiatrist that
He,
maybe the mob tracked him down. James,
yeah.
did your
So
earpiece
I'll
go
continue
out?
reading here.
Can you
He
hear
said
me?
that of the 4 or 5 attackers,
I don't think
one
you
might
can
have
hear
been a
me.
girl with blonde hair and a floppy hat, but he also might have been a long-haired male. During the struggle, he said he had felt a sharp pain in his chest and had seen blood, and then had felt his pajama top being ripped over his chest. He told Dr. Sadoff that he had sustained 14 lacerations to his chest. Um, all right, Billy, you want to take over, man?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, I was just having an AirPod issue, but I can hear. I switched you to my speaker. You're good.
Oh,
I mean, sorry, Corey's taking care of it. Is what
I
I
was
meant.
saying really good stuff when you cut out. I was saying I was underscoring the point that he told his psychiatrist that the mob tracked him.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
Trying to say it's kind of Jay's fault,
yeah, he's blaming Jay for it.
but then he's also like trying to appear like he's not trying to plant a fabricated excuse by saying it, but it also doesn't really seem like a mafia type job.
Well, they were
Um,
hippies, right?
yeah, yeah.
I thought he already said they were hippies.
Well,
So,
now, yeah, this is, and again, we're now 7 weeks after the murders, 8 weeks, and he's still not sure if Stokely or the female intruder was a long-haired male. It's still not clear to him. He's
but
still,
I thought he saw the long-haired human wearing go-go boots.
yeah, and a flash of a knee, a
Hmm.
flash of a bare knee.
And this long-haired male or possibly woman was chanting, so
Yeah, he must have identified it as a female voice. So I think he's just frolicking around here. A 3 hour interview is you're gonna get a lot of the stuff out.
all right. McDonald also complained to Dr. Sadoff. I also want to apologize for earlier mispronouncing that name. If
Oh
any,
yes, well, we're gonna fix that in the edit. Don't worry.
if any friends or relatives of his are
Oh
listening.
God, yeah, God, well, fuck them if they are.
McDonald complained to Dr. Sadoff that people seemed to expect him to break down and show more emotion, and that when he did not, they assumed he was, quote, cold-hearted. He said he got mad at people who expected him to cry in front of them. He admitted to a feeling of relief that his wife and children were gone, but said he was ashamed of that feeling. He said he sometimes missed the children more than he did his wife. He described Kristen as having been a, quote, tough girl, and said Kimberly was more like Colette, soft and feminine. He spoke in poignant terms, Dr. Sadoff said later, about his preparing himself, his being a hero. His give me a sec.
Yeah, no, gather yourself.
Sip of water.
Yeah.
He spoke in poignant terms, Dr. Sadoff said later, about his preparing himself, his being a hero, his being all kinds of things. Good looking, bright, quote, a lover who had had a lot of girlfriends, being in an Ivy League school. He said he was the first member of his high school class in 22 years to attend an Ivy League school, getting through early, being a doctor, being the strong, brave Green Beret, and constantly doing such things as being boxing team doctor, lifting weights, and getting by on only 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. Living up to this image of himself, this super masculine striving, the fantasy of being a hero was very important to him. Yet when it came time to save his family, he was unable to do so. I think he did have some unresolved masculine strivings with possibly some latent homosexual conflicts. I wouldn't call it latent homosexuality or even fear of it, but the need to overachieve in a super masculine way is usually meant to compensate for or to mask any areas of inadequacy that he may have noted in himself that others may never have seen. So he had an Achilles heel, let's say, in this area of masculinity or virility, and some narcissistic need to be famous or infamous. He told me that he had gotten a lot of publicity from the case and had received 400 letters from all over the country, some of them marriage proposals, but usually just suggestions that girls come and stay with him. He told me he enjoyed getting the mail. As I saw him, here was a man who had lived according to certain expectations, going along with stereotypes. And in this kind of situation, even though it might have been devastating for the average individual, he had to prove to himself and to others that he was super normal. That's as one word,
Yeah.
super normal.
Yeah, it's deep.
that he was above the average and would be able to make it no matter what the blow. Based on my examination, I was fairly certain that he was not directly involved in the killings of his family, but that he did feel guilty because he had not been able to save them.
Um, Sadov is a fucking like thorn in the side of this case for decades. I think like you even listening to the Malcolm tapes, all of the McDonald. Oh, well, there it is. All of the McDonald defenders were like, "Oh, you got to talk to Sadov. He'll tell you really what Jeff's all about. Jeff's an amazing, beautiful, perfect person." Um,
Right.
and I'm reading this, and like, yeah, this all sounds like really bad. But then he like he comes up with the same sort of like um ge acrobatic ending where it's like, okay, he's doing all this weird shit. Um, he's like incredibly insecure about his masculinity, and he's like afraid that he might be gay, so he has to like prove that he's not.
He wants to be famous.
He wants to be famous. He loves like the fact that it's been a couple weeks since his family was wiped out, and he's getting girls that want to come to bed with him. And he really enjoys getting the mail, and he's actually quite relieved that his family's dead. Um, and he's but if he misses anybody, it was the kids, not the wife. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Um, and so Sadov's conclusion is that it's because he's an Ubermensch, like he's a Superman, and he needs to keep achieving in the face of this tragedy. And because of a man of such amazing strength, you can't show weakness even after
Well,
this
that's
terrible event.
exactly what that's just what Dr. Jordan Peterson tells us to do.
Oh yeah?
Live a heroic masculine life, get out
Oh.
there, slay the dragon.
Oh, so that's what Jeff's doing. He's like, he can't be seen as the type to be broken by such like
Yeah,
an unspeakable loss.
right. He's a hero. Be a hero. Have a hero's journey.
So that's what he's doing here. And Sadov is totally bought in after one session, and he will remain bought in for.
Yeah.
And like one of the great tragedies for McDonald defenders is that Sadov wasn't allowed to testify at the trial in '79, and that would have been a total game changer.
Yeah, all the physical evidence out the
Because this
window.
fucking asshole in Philadelphia spent 3 hours with the guy and said, I don't think he could have done it. He's
Right.
such a hot dude. He's lifting weights. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
all right, shall we continue on?
Yeah, there's a short passage here.
Yeah, let's go ahead. The next day, McDonald traveled to the Norristown State Hospital outside Philadelphia and underwent 6 hours of psychological testing. He took the Shipley Intelligence Test, the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Index, which provides a general profile of an individual's overall personality adjustment, and the Rorschach and Thematic Apperception tests, which are designed to elicit information about aspects of personality that a subject might be making a conscious effort to conceal. Over the weekend, with McDonald having been escorted back to Fort Bragg, Bernie Segal, too impatient to wait for the submission of a written report, called Dr. Sadov, whom he knew well and with whom he had worked often in the past. I said, How did the interview go? And he said, I remember this with perfect clarity. I don't think your client killed his family.
Checkmate.
Mic drop. Over. Game over. Bernie is bought in. His journey from skepticism to true believer is complete. Here we go. It was a Saturday morning, and I was alone in the office. And I remember, for a moment, I was breathless.
There's so much self-dramatizing
Yeah,
throughout this
it's just
book.
insane that Bernie is like. this is really gonna get them to fucking believe that Jeff didn't do it. To
I
just show,
gasped. I
I
wept.
gasped. I fell to my knees. I sobbed. I stifled a sob. I was breathless. Bob said he does not appear to be mentally ill. In fact, he seems rather well balanced and healthy. At this point, I let out a long whistle. For what had seemed a long time, I had suspended my own judgment about this man. Now, for the first time, I had been given reason to actively, affirmatively think that he had not committed the crime.
It's such a low bar.
Yeah, it's like, what? No, he's still showing you that he's an incredible empirical man. I still, of course, was not persuaded 100%, but having come into the case carrying with me the presumption of guilt and thinking defensively, I could now go on the offense. While I still believe that the Army would not have charged Jeff or gone public with him as a suspect unless they had some facts that pointed toward him, I could now approach the case. So the implication being they had nothing. I could now approach the case from the point of view that their facts had led them to the wrong conclusion. The task now was not to prepare an insanity defense, but to plunge into the investigation of the case and to go get the rest of the facts. So this is like a spiritual awakening for him. Like he's found his true calling
Yeah.
to be, to just, he's accepted Jeff's innocence as a sacrament.
To bring back a theme from episode 25, the
Yes, sir.
famous episode 25,
Yeah.
and to use a phrase I know is beloved by our friend Kevin.
Oh, yes.
Is this not a feverish effort to justify himself?
Bernie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that what everybody's doing in this fucking book?
Yeah.
Bernie's like devoted his life to this child killer, and he's
Yeah.
walking you through this amazing dramatic narrative of doubt and conversion.
Yeah. I mean, what you have to wonder how much Bernie was excited about having a book about the case being written.
But you know, when people get older, I know I do it too sometimes, but I had, you know, relatives I can think of who they'd always trot out the exact same
Yeah.
story, the same version again and again and again to the point
Yeah.
where it's like, did this even
Yeah. It
did this
becomes
even
yeah,
happen?
you can delude yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, me and Kevin were emailing about the Bernie and his who became his wife, Sarah Simmons,
Uh-huh.
and who shows up on these tapes as like the most emotional McDonald believer of all time.
Yeah.
And then to my dismay, found in Bernie's obituary no mention of her at all.
Mhm.
So I wonder what she's up to, what she thinks, if she's still on board.
Yeah.
Sarah, I invite your feedback.
We'll be reaching out.
Oh, we will be. Yeah.
I mean, let's see. A future guest. We got David Bentley Hart to talk about heaven, hell, universal salvation. Will
Oh
Jeff
yeah.
be in heaven someday? We got Tim Snyder to talk about the
Malcolm is Nazi. Sorry.
yeah, and why he moved to
Sorry.
Canada. Why did he move to Canada? What's that all about?
Why didn't Jeff move to Canada? He never would have been prosecuted. That was
Wow.
dumb.
Wow. Yep. We're bringing Steve Bannon on to talk about federal probation.
Yeah, just about how dope it is to get a pardon and how McDonald could get one too. You know,
Dershowitz.
The Dersh. Yeah. Yeah. We have a fucking murderer's row lined up for you guys.
Yeah. Maybe if they ever write back. We
Yo,
might
they
be
will. Please. The
I
pressure.
mean our emails land in spam quite often.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Okay.
okay. I'm more of a drop in kind of guy anyways. Just drop into the office.
Siegel's belief that he was representing an innocent man was strengthened further Within the next few days, when he received the results of the psychological testing, Captain McDonald's adjustment certainly falls within normal limits, the psychologist informed Bernie Segal. There is no sign of either psychosis or psychopathic tendencies that would lead him to commit a crime of violence. To what extent he can be successfully hiding actual guilt cannot be completely answered on the basis of psychological evaluation, but the nature of the crime is such that it was probably committed by either a psychotic or a criminal psychopath, and it is clear that Captain McDonald does not fit such a description. Bernie Segal forwarded to the Army summaries of both the psychiatric and psychological evaluations in the hope that authorities could be persuaded that McDonald lacked the capacity to have committed the crime. The hope proved naive. Can't help but think of Jim Blackburn's point that they didn't need to prove that he was the kind of guy who could do it as long as they could prove that he did do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just looking at all this trash and how you have people that work for the Washington Post who are worried today that this stuff wasn't admitted at trial and it cost McDonald a fair trial. When it's
Yeah.
like, you really think a fucking jury can't weigh a polygraph as what, weigh it properly in terms of evidence, jury value, but they can weigh these assholes saying this is a crime committed by a psychopath and he failed the psychopath test, so he's not a psychopath. Therefore, he did not do it. It's like,
Yeah.
but this is enough for, I mean, yeah, not, so I don't think it's I'm not really moved by it. Maybe a McDonald defender is sitting here and he's,
Oh no, no, you said McDonald defender. The frat guy is gonna think that we're defending him now.
I did say that?
You just said maybe a
Oh,
McDonald just so
oh, just
oh
because,
come on.
just even bringing it up. Yeah.
He's nodding out. He heard you say it.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, he'd have to make another whole other Apple ID, and I don't think he has the attention span that takes about 20 minutes. So,
There's a lot of TikToks for him to look at.
exactly. It's too many reels lined up to get to this. So, that's too fucking bad. I do appreciate the little Joe snark there with the hope proved naive.
Yep, love Joe, great
Yeah.
writer, hell of a father.
Um,
It's an
at
inside.
1
That's an
p.m.
inside one. That was an inside joke.
Inside baseball. I'm gonna cut
Yeah.
that from the broadcast. At 1 p.m. on May 1st, Freddie Kassab called a press conference. See, this is Freddie doing Jeff's will. Called a press conference in New York City to protest the fact that the Army had kept his stepson-in-law under restriction for more than 3 weeks without having actually accused him of any crime. I was under the impression that it was only in communist countries a person could be held in this way, Kassab said. At 4 p.m., the Army announced that Jeffrey McDonald had been formally charged with 3 counts of murder. That evening in Philadelphia, Bernie Segal told the press that his client was very shaken and confused by the development. He cannot believe this has happened, Segal said. On Long Island, Mildred Kassab said the entire United States Army must have gone stark, raving mad. And then
Oh.
the chapter, we're going to close the chapter with two more. Uh,
Okay, we got a
Jeff,
McDonald. We got
a
McDonald writing
Donald,
to the
and then a
Kassab.
Mildred. So
All right,
you can take Jeff.
I'll be Jeff. 5 days later, McDonald wrote again to the Kassabs. I'm just getting over the shock of actually being charged. Even with the preparation and forewarning, it was quite a jolt for this insanity to progress so far. McDonald jolted by late
Donald
developments
jolted by
in the
charges
campaign.
in final days of whatever the fuck it was.
That is a joke about the Wiener laptop 2016. You could look that up.
That's not good. Yeah.
I'm sure by now you're aware that the Army ignored the results of tests done on me in Philly 2 weeks ago before charging me. Typical Army. They used a lot of mumbo jumbo but the end result was they refused to look at the results of the tests, evidence that proves I'm innocent. Apparently,
Sorry,
what the fuck?
fucking psycho.
Apparently, even if I was having communion in Rome with the Pope that night, the army would have suppressed that and charged me. Equivalent.
The exact same.
Equivalent.
And you know what? Megan McArdle of the Washington Post is right there with him.
My my lawyer warned me of this from the beginning. He said they will never admit they are wrong. He very bluntly told me my innocence was very unimportant at this point. More important are things like army careers, publicity, egos, and incompetent investigators. Of course, in my innocence, I always held out hope that someone would come, release me, and say, sorry for the mistake. You're free to go and experience the grief of losing that which, whom you love most. I am worldly about many things, but now I really confess to a naivete about how people are prosecuted for alleged crimes. Fortunately, it's okay with me if they want to look into the past.
Mhm.
I have nothing to hide, and they can call anyone they want to the witness stand to testify as to our family, the relations among my family, or my personal and professional character. Let them just drive on because they will never find anything but love in my family. I think they are the ones who need psychiatric testing. Oh, sick burn.
Yeah, I'm sure Ivory felt really bad when he heard that McDonald said that.
If there is a heaven,
Ugh.
as Colette and Kim always felt, I'm sure that Colette, Kim, Christy, and our unborn son are there now. What must they be saying as they look down on this insanity? Does their new status give them infinite patience and understanding of mere mortals' errors and procedures? Or are they as sick of all this as I am? I wish I was with them right now, wherever it might be.
I really am just cannot express how disgusted I am. And this is not the first time he's done it when he speaks on their behalf in spirit.
Yeah,
I know we just did it at the end of season one where Colette comes to him in spirit when he's in the barrack and keeps him from committing suicide and tells him to fight.
right, right.
And here he
Fight,
is.
fight.
Yeah, like, and here he is again. He's doing, the fact that he's dropping the names to, and the unborn son to Mildred of all people is just shameless, absolutely shameless.
Yeah,
Um,
but he knew that Kimmy believed in heaven.
yeah, and he's such, as we know, he said to the CID, he wasn't a believer in the faith.
Uh-huh.
But he's starting to, he's opening up to that, and he certainly feels entitled to speak on their behalf, whether they're in an ethereal realm or not. And that's absolutely disgusting. This
Yep.
time, almost a month passed before Mildred Kassab could bring herself to respond. Dear Jeff, how the days drag. Every day I look at a stack of letters, yours on top, and say today. The last time I was going to write was on Mother's Day and Colette's birthday. I'm sorry, but maybe this is just the evil Joe McGinnis leaving out the really important stuff. And like maybe Jeff wrote a bunch of stuff about how sad he was about Kim's birthday and Colette's birthday. Um, but I'm not picking it up from these letters. It's not even on his fucking radar.
Right.
Um, letter and the damn tears kept spilling on the paper, so I quit. I hope someday I will stop weeping. It's a terrible weakness, but it's such a shame, such a pity. Do you realize that it is just 10 years this month that we attended yours and Colette's high school graduation? You started out to beat the world and all of the plans for the future, blasted by those killing rats. I am constantly thinking of how I can get someone to find the sick sadists who killed my darlings. I will never rest until these people, or should I say animals, are caught and punished. There isn't a fitting punishment anymore since we have become so humanized. I have many of Colette's letters and I read them over and over. It almost makes me feel that it never happened, but it did. The swimming pool looks beautiful, all aqua and white, with cement walls, patio, and new green sod. The plantings are blooming, and the whole thing looks like Hollywood. I hate it. We didn't do it for ourselves. We love you and do wish so much for you, Jeff. If we could only make everything nice and tidied up again. It's just too big though. And when you are all through, you still have nothing. Are you feeling a lot of support? You feeling a lot of the ardent support for Jeff in these letters? I'm hearing more about punishing the killing rats than I am about you're obviously innocent.
There's a mix.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mildred is definitely more focused on catching the killers than Jeff.
Yeah. So this is just the fun, like this is frustrating that they're wasting time. They're not on his page that this is the greatest injustice of all time and it should be celebrated when it goes away. And we'll later hear him say that, and I think in a subsequent chapter, not that Bernie always warned Jeff that Freddy's a fanatic and fanatics will turn on you, and he never should have had him be so involved. And that Freddy was a mistake. It was a mistake to ever let Freddy be part of the defense here.
Mm.
We'll get there, but overall, yeah, we got through the whole first chapter of season two, or section two,
Yeah.
episode two. Um, we've gone through a lot of material tonight, Billy.
Yeah.
Are you moved by the spirit in any way to at this hour?
I just want to give thanks that we're back.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot together, and we've
Yes,
been
we
through a
have.
lot over these years and over the past month.
Yes, sir.
So much has
Certainly have.
happened.
So much has happened. And
We're just a couple of damaged people, just trying to do our best, you know?
same here. Well, on that note,
That's all we can do.
that's all we can do. We'll keep fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to thank our audience for sticking with us,
Thank you for your patience.
waiting it out.
Thank you for your loyalty. And we hope this episode brought you some other kind of joy. And as always, like, subscribe, donate cash if possible.
To all our fans out there, I just want to say that James and I will always wait for you. And if we should fall behind, wait for us.
And we will never betray our values around McDonald's guilt ever. I'm putting that out there right now. So if you think that we might turn into McDonald defenders, you're wrong. I don't care what show comes along and tries to pay me however many millions to act like I had an about face.
Right.
You think I haven't had offers? Believe me.
Deathbed.
Yeah,
Deathbed
right.
affidavit.
Yes, that won't happen. Not here. Well, we're signing off.
Thank you,
We've
everybody.
locked in a
This
nice long episode,
yeah.
and it's been a wild ride.
God bless you.
God bless you and keep you until then.